morning, Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. How are you this morning? You look fabulous. It's so wonderful to see you, and I would say see your smiling faces, but your smiles are correctly hidden behind your mask. Thank you to those of you that are here in person for helping us keep each other safe. It's a form of love that we like to show each other. We also want to include our friends that are out there safely in Facebook live stream land. So turn around, wave, say hi. We're so glad you're all here. It's just wonderful to have time every week to get together in community and remind ourselves and each other of just how good life can be, just how wonderful each of us are, and how we can, with a common intention, lift up the consciousness of all we come in contact with. Because all our life is love. And when we express love, everyone benefits. So I'm so glad to see you. I love you all. And let's get started, shall we? So we want to start this morning by saying who's playing with me on platform. Our practitioner this morning is Nisa Burrows. Nisa will do our opening invocation and also a reading for us. And just a reminder that our practitioners are available for prayer support after service and really any time. There's a prayer request box up front where you can put in a written request. There's a phone line that you can call. If you call our office number, there's an option for a confidential prayer message, and our practitioners will take your request into prayer for the week. Or you can email us at prayer@claremontcsl.org, and that request will also go to our practitioners. And what we know about prayer is that we are affirming the greater truth that is beyond our day-to-day life, that truth that is beyond our circumstances, back to the heart of each of us. And when someone knows that truth for you fiercely, things change. So do take advantage of that. Do reach out to your practitioners. They are happy to support you in that way. We also have music this weekend. Yay! We want to say hello to Jeff on keyboards. And this week we welcome back Dennis Bryan. And hello to Leslie, who follows Dennis wherever he goes. She's basically in charge of making sure that he does what he's supposed to do, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't get lost, right? I want to remind you, too, that after service, if you stick around, Dennis is doing a little mini concert for us. It's on a love offering basis. You know he's a good musician, and I can tell you that when he does his own show, things get a little fun and crazy. So do stay for that. If you like music, you want to be here after service, he's going to play quite a selection for us, so I encourage you to do so. All right, so let's get started by getting centered. I'm going to find my bowl. And we're going to let the sound of the bowl take us within. So I'm going to invite you to put everything off your laps, to close your eyes, to take a deep breath, and just listen to the bowl. And let the resonance of that tone move you into that space of the heart, that sanctuary within. With each breath, allowing yourself to become more centered, more grounded, more fully aware of that divine spark within you.
Breathing into this moment and into the all-knowing center within your own heart. We know that this one life, this one divine mind is at the source of all, is the source of each one here. With this knowing, we turn our mind's eye further inward, breathing into the heart, breathing into that one life, that one love, opening to this all-love center within. Allowing this all in all to have full sway. Opening and allowing that which is the true essence of our being. Allowing its free flow. Allowing it to express itself in the individuality that each one here calls me. And gratitude for the knowledge of this truth. In the knowing that it is so. We know together, and so it is. Good morning. I have a couple short readings. One is from Robert Browning. Truth is within ourselves. It takes no rise from outward things, whate'er you may believe. There is an inmost center in us all, where truth abides in fullness, and around, wall to wall, the gross flesh hems it in. And to know rather consists in opening out a way, hence the imprisoned splendor may escape, than effecting entry for a light, supposed to be without. And my second reading is from a book called Learning to Dance Inside by George Fowler. And I think I picked this up in our bookstore at some point. So. Your life is your living of life. That is the same as saying that the purpose of your life, the purpose of your being, is your process. God is a verb, and so therefore are you. You were an unfolding. You were eternal life coming to full awareness of itself from within matter. You are not at risk. The reason to keep this vision and to work on it is so that you will not delay your fulfillment and its joy. Your goal is not to arrive somewhere, but to be aware of where you already are. Your process already contains your goal. If you still imagine that meditation is going to give you something you don't already have, you're missing the point. The kingdom of God is already within you. So don't waste your lifetime searching for it elsewhere. The vision you are to keep requires that you act now as though you already have what you're after, because you do. Only your fuller realization of all this remains to be found. The experience of spiritual fulfillment, of bliss, comes not when we acquire it, but when we remember it.
Good morning, everybody. Very happy to be back here. Love this place. Good to see you all. Let me see the world with clouds. Take me to the world, out where I can push through clouds. Take me to the world, a world that smiles, with streets instead of aisles, where I can walk for miles with you. Take me to the world that's real. Show me how it's done. Teach me how to laugh, to feel. Move me to the sun. Just hold my hand whenever we arrive. Take me to the world where I can be alive. Do you want the world? Why then you shall have the world. Asking for the world again, you shall have the world. A world of skies that's bursting with surprise, to open up our eyes for joy. We shall see the world come true. We shall have the world. And I won't be afraid, nor you. We shall have the world. You'll hold my hand and know you're not alone. You shall have the world to keep. Such a lovely world you'll weep. We shall have the world forever. For our own.
All righty then. Thank you. One more time for Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. I'm going to light our candle today for our monthly theme, which is reaching higher. Higher what? Higher everything. Higher perspective, higher consciousness, this idea that we continue to grow and expand and transcend and become and raise up. And in doing our own work, we do the same for everyone else. Isn't that how it works? When you're around someone who feels great, don't you feel just a little bit better? When you're around somebody who doesn't feel great, don't you have to work a little harder to feel a little bit better? So we're going to talk about that today. Our title is Fly High. And it made me think of a time when I lived in Dallas, Texas. And Dallas is in the middle of a great flat piece of land, big sky, big clouds, and certain times of the year, early morning and early evening, you would see the hot air balloons in flight. And it's a beautiful thing. Has anybody here been on a hot air balloon ride? A few people, right? So I've not actually been up in one. I've only seen them from the ground. And it always just took my imagination to, oh my gosh, that higher perspective where everything is spread out before you. And my sense of it must be quiet up there, except for the sound of the balloon and the propane and all that. The air itself, it must be quiet. So it always makes me think of something expansive and peaceful and just kind of a reminder that up above the fray, there is a place of stillness and openness and vastness. And I'd see those balloons, and I'd see them prepping them on the ground, and it takes a whole crew to get them off the ground. And once the balloon itself, the envelope, as they call it, is filled, they untie the lines and throw the rest of the ballast over the side so that it might begin to rise. And as it begins to rise, it also begins to move out on the wind. And then somewhere far off, I don't know where or when or how long they're up there, they land. And they bring it back, and they set it up again for the next ride, and it goes on as long as the weather cooperates. So I had to learn about hot air balloons because I wanted to know a little bit more about how they work, because I like this metaphor of rising higher, right? And having that big view, that bigger perspective. And oversimplified, and the scientists among you, just close your ears if I get too casual here. Basically, hot air rises because it's less dense than cold air. All right? So the air inside the envelope is warmer than the air outside. It's going to rise above. But there has to be a balance between the weight of what's in the basket or the gondola and the lift that the hot air provides. So there's math involved, not my forte. Just trust me, it's there. It does work. There's a pilot, and the pilot has control only over the ballast, the weight, and the hot air. The pilot doesn't control the cold air. It doesn't control the wind that's on the outside, the air that we're flying through, right? And what I found out is that air, like ocean, travels in currents, and there are actually layers. So when you're on a plane and the pilot says, folks, there's a little turbulence up ahead, we're going to climb up another 10,000 feet, so we miss it. So you can go above or drop down below a current that's not favorable to the direction you want to go in. And that's what the pilot does. They increase or decrease the hot air in the balloon by adjusting the propane flow. Now there's another quick hit that they can do. The top of the envelope has a vent on it with a ripcord. So it's like a big patch that sits flat on top, keeping all the hot air in, unless you pull the cord, in which case it opens up a big hole in the top of the balloon, and the balloon goes, whew. Want to see that again? Whew. It's a quick drop. Not all the way to the ground, because that's not the goal. The goal is simply to avoid danger or get out of a current that is too strong or too swirly. And anybody worth their salt will tell you, if they've been in a balloon, if you feel the air start to spin, you need to get out of there. Because you don't really have a lot of control over how your balloon will respond, other than the tools that you have there in front of you. That propane lever and the ripcord. I suppose you could throw somebody over the side and get rid of a little more weight, and that might give you a little more lift, quickly, but not advised, not advised. But a balloon ride, a pilot is really just responding to changing conditions, right? And isn't that what we do every day, right? We are always responding to changing conditions. We'd like to float above the turbulence, or go around it, fly under it. How many of you like to fly under the radar? That family argument's going on over there in the other room, and you're just going to stay out here in the kitchen and pretend to make salad or something and stay away from that. But eventually you're going to want to come back to ground so that you can rest and resupply, refurbish, renew. It's what we do every day, right? We run through our day, we go above and below and around and through and all that. We come home, and some of us just collapse on the couch, wake up enough to eat dinner, go to bed. Because we need our rest. We need that time. So this idea of floating through life floating above so that we can see the bigger picture, allowing ourselves to know something bigger so that we can move differently in our daily life. There's an urge to do that, right? There's like a pull. I want to know more. I'm one of those people that I really would like to know what's going on behind the scenes so I can be ready. Now, on a bad day, that means I want to know every single thing that's happening, and you better tell me what's going on and don't surprise me, because I get anxious and crabby and irritable. Not that any of you would ever be anything like that. No. But you know, this whole idea of this, the dynamic of the balloon, it really is how we live. This idea that the envelope, the balloon itself, is our mental equivalent. It's the container of our thoughts. It's how big we are, what we know of the world. It's what's going to power us through life, right? That's what that hot air does. That's the part that is the power. And the power on the balloon comes from the propane. And in our lives, it's our passion. It's the fire that we have for something or for someone, right? When you're doing something you love, you have all the energy in the world. When you've got a direction, an intention, a goal in mind, something that you're working towards, something that gives you great joy, you are moving in that direction. That is the power that you have of your life. And that's what that propane is. It's that intention we have. It's the emotions that we direct, right? It's the feeling, right? Ernest Holmes tells us that the power in our prayer work, the power in treatment, is the feeling behind it. It's not just the words. It's how we feel about it. Now, there it is. He says in this thing called life, he says, inspiration and enthusiasm are necessary to the highest use of this power. Quick joy in recognition and gladness in realization. There is something triumphant and transcendent about this power. Don't be afraid of these higher emotions. Consciousness of the power will buoy you up. It will not pull you down. So when you want to fly higher in your life, when you want to move more easily, when you want to come from that power within, that spark within that is the divine within you, we tap into our feelings, our intentions, our desires, our joys, what moves our heart. Now, the gondola, the basket of the balloon, is where the stuff is. It's where the people are. It's where the supplies are. It's where the propane is. It's where our snacks are. And whatever else we may need. And I want to ask you, who do you have in your basket? Right? Who are you flying around with? Is your life feeling a little bit heavy around the edges? And is that because you've got old stuff in there that you didn't clean out from the last time you used the balloon? Or maybe you've got voices in your head weighing you down, or maybe you've got people in your life that are just, I don't know about you, but this last year, with the imposed isolation and the curtailing of events, there were a lot of friends and acquaintances that kind of fell away. Not anything bad, not even negative, just fell away. Probably for lack of attention, for lack of being in a habit of doing something, right? And the people we are with now tend to be the people that we are close to, or that we are related to still. But you see, you have a choice as to who's in your basket. Who is it you're flying around with? Are they weighing you down? This time of year, the leaves fall. There's a releasing process that happens as we get ready to move into winter. There's a harvest that happens. And we're no different. We too need to occasionally look around and see what doesn't serve anymore. What can I let go of in preparation for winter so that I have room to gather in what I will need, so that I have room to be with the people and do the things that will see me through those cold, dark nights of winter. So you look around your basket and you make your choices, and you are the pilot, so you get to pick. You get to pick what's in there, who's in there, how much is in there, and the ratio of weight to lift. I might be surrounded by 10 people on a project that I'm passionate about because we all want to get this done. You know, this center is an example of that. I love being here. I love seeing you here. I like it when we can plan events and we do little things and we can pull stuff together really quick, like a concert this afternoon, and have a great time doing it. And I do that really well in a crowd because we all support each other. We all lift each other up. It's all of service. And other times, I like to fly solo. I'm a closet introvert. I bet you didn't know that. I could be all by myself and be perfectly happy. Just depends. I'm sure you're the same. All right, so that basket is adjustable. It's part of how we regulate our energy in life. It's where we control the counterweight. And it made me think of that phrase, the weight of the world. You know, right now the world's kind of heavy. Right? We've been working with this pandemic for a long time. There are world events that are tragic, that are difficult, that are sad, that seem hopeless, that don't seem to have easy solutions or any solutions. That's not the whole story, but there's a lot of that going around right now. Well, how do I counterweight that? How do I counterbalance that? How do I keep my equilibrium? Equilibrium is a wonderful word. It means balance, but it's actually the name of the system in your inner ear that recognizes the orientation of your head. Don't you love that? If you've ever had an ear infection or just a really bad cold, you know how delicate balance is, right? You move too fast, you stand up too quick, you turn too fast, and all of a sudden you're tipping over. But that system recognizes for your brain the orientation of your head. Which way am I looking? What am I thinking about? What news program am I listening to? What friends am I hanging out with? What books am I reading? If I want to keep my balance, if I want stability, which is what ballast does for a ship or a plane, it helps maintain stability, then I need to know where my head is. And isn't science of mind the philosophy of where your head's at? And how to use that mental capacity we have for good. All of that works together so that we can navigate those wind currents, those news stories, those medical diagnoses, the family dynamics, the change in financial fortune. Those are the currents that we fly through all the time. We have something to say about how we respond to those things, about how much skill we have in keeping ourselves stable and centered. The counterweight to the weight of the world is my spiritual practice, is the prayer work I do. It's the truth that I know, that life is for me, that any situation will pass, that there is a way forward, and there are infinite possibilities on how any one thing can move. So I set the direction. I choose the altitude because I am in charge of my attitude. And that's where my skill as a pilot comes in. And let's not forget that in order to navigate those layers of wind currents, I've got to have a little heat in the balloon. I've got to care. I have to love. I need to laugh. I need that joy or that passion or that love or even that deep sorrow. I need the energy of my authentic self to be wide open So that no matter what is happening out here, I'm coming from the heart. I'm moving at my own direction. I'm able to navigate, to stay safe, to rise above, no matter what the winds of change are bringing. Ernest Holmes talks a lot about the balance and equilibrium of the universe. I found that phrase in like 6 different books. The balance and equilibrium of the universe. In other words, that law of cause and effect, but also the law of circulation, the law of attraction. What goes out comes in. What I give, I receive. What I receive, I give. This is all part of the balance and equilibrium of the universe. And he says balance is a state of well-being, having an inner sense of happiness. And when we're in alignment with that inner power, then our outside world reflects what's going on inside of us. Our outside world reflects the balance that I feel within, the peace that I have found, the perspective that I'm able to enjoy. If I'm out of balance, I need to check where my head is. I need to see what I'm looking at. Am I focused on fear? Am I focused on lack? Am I speaking in terms of doom and gloom and how it's never going to work out? Or am I balancing that with my spiritual practice and reminding myself that I'm a child of God? That I am an expression of spirit in form. That I am creative. That all things are possible. We get to choose. We get to choose. Holmes says too often our minds are so burdened because of the mistakes we've made that we do not take the time to forgive ourselves and others and start over again. In other words, if you never land the balloon, you're going to be carrying around an awful lot of stuff. You eat all those snacks and all those wrappers are left over. Right? We want to be able to regroup when necessary. We need to pause. We need to step back. We need to get out of the making decisions and figuring things out and making things work. Get out of that long enough to reset. So we have this call to pause, reflect, and release. The Jewish high holidays just ended, Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. And part of the process of those high holidays is to ask forgiveness where it's needed, to offer forgiveness to anyone who asks, to forgive debts, to literally, there's a ritual of emptying out your pockets and casting off whatever you're carrying around in there, because it's probably lint and debris. Let it go so that you start fresh, so that you start with a clean, clear heart, so that you're not carrying around those things which weigh you down. It's that time of year. It's what we do. It's also the time of year of the equinox, which is the 22nd. And the equinox is when the sun crosses the horizontal plane of the Earth's equator. In other words, night and day are the same length. Now, a lot of us will spend 6 months out of the year saying the days are too short. And the other 6 months out of the year saying the nights are too short. Not too many people I know say that, but the days are too short thing, we hear that a lot. But the truth is, day and night are always in balance. It's just what we're seeing from here. Hello? If that isn't your life, what is? From where you're standing, from where I'm standing, day appears longer or shorter. But there are 2 times a year when the sun cooperates and reminds us that night and day are the same length. They are in balance. They are part of a whole system of ebb and flow and ebb and flow, where we see all of that in all of nature. And so we're reminded that balance is part of the universe. That one of the definitions of balance is the the evenly distributed components of the whole. Anybody have that friend where you walk into their house and everything is beautiful? I mean, you just walk in and you don't even know why. It's just pleasing. It's easy to look at. Probably there's no clutter on the dining room table. That helps a lot. But sometimes it's the fact that the weight of the furniture and the placement of the windows and where the light is and where the color pops, those things are all harmonious. And we respond to that even if we don't know why. We balance the pieces of the whole, and we can remember that all the pieces are part of the whole. All of us are part of the whole of life. So if I think you're out there doing something crazy, or I'm over here doing something that you really don't understand, that's okay if you have the perspective from higher up that we're all part of the whole of humanity, and isn't humanity a glorious thing? So you see, that higher perspective serves us sometimes. The one thing about getting that higher perspective, about floating above, Pat asked me when we were talking about this, she says, well, that doesn't mean you're trying to get away from everything on earth, is it? I mean, are you just trying to avoid everything that's uncomfortable? No, that's not what it's for. Taking that balloon ride is not to escape. I mean, that may be a momentary benefit. Sure, you're away from your own piles of clutter, right? It's not to escape. It's to remind us of the expansiveness of life. It's to remind us that there is much more to see and take in and experience than whatever it is we're dealing with on the desk in front of us, or the conversation we're having, or the bill that we're arguing about, or whatever the circumstances are. It's to remind us of the bigger picture, that we are part of something greater than our own self, and that something has a beauty and a balance to it that we are a part of. It's tapping into the divine truth of life so that when we gently come back to earth, we bring that with us, that we might live from our highest self as a human being, so that we might bring that sense of transcendence and possibility and forward motion back to humanity, our own humanity and those we meet. It's so that we might say, hey, I know right now this situation is really difficult. There's people in a lot of pain. But you know what I saw up above, from above? What I saw is right around the corner. There's a road that'll take us to some place where there's healing, where there's beauty, where there are resources. Let me show you how to get to that road. I can only do that if I've seen it. I can only do that if I believe it, if I feel it. So let me take that hot air balloon ride. Let me remind myself that life is grander, more expansive, more transcendent, so that I might come back and shine that light here. Share that warmth from that flame with those people who are around me. Share a description of what I've seen so that others know that possibilities exist for good. I'll close with something from Ernest Holmes. In Science of Mind magazine back in 1993, we quoted him saying, "Let us see if we cannot let our faith soar. That secret place of the Most High within us, let the whole harmony of our lives flow from that perfect spirit which is at the center of everything. In the fullness of the presence of God, There flows in and through us a joy, a love, and a wholeness that touches every part of our being. It changes the way we are human on earth. And so I offer you the opportunity to fly high. Namaste. And if you will, join me in a moment of prayer. Taking that deep breath. And this time, instead of moving inward to that heart space, I want you to see the vast expanse of sky with those hot air balloons, colorful and bright, floating above the earth. Silent and majestic, moving easily across the sky. And now place yourself in one of those balloons. Pick your favorite color, the one that catches your eye, and stand beneath the envelope in the gondola and look out at your world. Look around at the vast expanse of sky. Notice who is with you, the love that is right there by your side. Feel the power of the flame lifting you higher and higher. And know that this too is God. This too is the Spirit within and without, expressing as life, as creativity, as movement, as flow. For there is, in fact, a silent flow in life always. And as I feel that energy of life flowing in and through me, I know that life is for me. And if it is for me, it is for each of us. That the energy and possibility and the infinite creativity of life expressing is right here, in and as each of us. And it is good and very good. And where life is hard or seems difficult or people are in pain, there is light and sky and love and heat, a passion for healing, open arms for soothing. There is a kindness expressing between each of us, between us and our spiritual nature, between us and the world. And so I claim the healing of the world, here and now, one vista at a time, one relationship at a time, one conversation at a time, one heartbeat at a time. For love is, that power of love is, that vastness of possibility simply is, and it is ours. And so I call it good and very good. I call it healing. I call it health. I call it abundance. I call it forth. For it is the truth of life, and we are that life. And I am grateful, so very grateful. And I simply allow it to be, allowing it to unfold in all of its many forms, knowing that we are blessed and a blessing, and so it is. So our affirmation is on the printer at my house. If anyone happens to have a copy of that email that I sent out, Dennis probably does. I could make one up, but I did that last time I was up here, so I thought maybe I'd change it up a little bit. Thank you, sir. All right. Today, as I release what no longer serves me, I fly high. I see my good in everything. And so it is. Thank you, sir. Looks like we're going to have another tune.
And what a nice setup. Boy, that was a great, great message. And one I definitely needed to hear. I let it go. I release the thing I'm clinging to. I release what's holding me, and I'm falling into God's love. I let it be. There's nothing more I need to do. Nothing more to say. I'm falling into God's love. I feel the Spirit holding me. And it is lifting me on high. And I rise on a power I can't see, and on the wings of love I fly. I fly. I let it go. I release the thing I'm clinging to, and I release what's holding me. I'm falling into God's love. I let it be. There's nothing more I need to do, nothing more to say. I'm falling into God's love. And I feel the Spirit holding me, and it is lifting me on high. And I rise on a power I can't see, and on the wings of love I fly. I fly. Don't ask why. I don't have to understand everything. It's by faith I fly, and it's by grace I see, I see. I feel the Spirit holding me, and it is lifting me on high. Oh, I rise on a power I can't see, and on the wings of love I fly. I fly.
Okay, so if you were wondering if you should stay after service for that little mini concert, there's your answer. Please stick around. We'll get up, we'll mill about a bit, and then we'll come right back in, and we'll have a little bit more music. So thank you, Dennis. That was Eddie Watkins Jr.'s song, correct?
Michael Gott.
Oh, Michael Gott.
Eddie did it.
He did it. He has a recording of it, too. Oh, gosh, yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so other announcements. October 3rd, so 2 Sundays from now. Do I have that right? I have that right. 2 Sundays from now, after service, we're going to have a reception to honor the newly Reverend Mary Cordova-Breen. She's not here today for me to fuss over, but that's okay. We'll make a big to-do about it on the 3rd. So plan on staying. There will be snacks. There will be much hoopla. There'll probably be lots of balloons and flowers and all kinds of good things as we honor her on her journey to become a minister. And she has passed everything, tested everything, spoken everything she needed to do, and she's official. And we'll just celebrate her on the 3rd after service. Okay? What else do we have coming up? We've got, we have an opportunity for volunteers. Well, we have several. But what I want to mention today is, do you have time during the week to pop in and refill all the goodies in the pews so that we have donation envelopes and note paper and things for people to use while they're in service? If that's something that you might want to do, you and a friend maybe, we supply all the goodies and you get to go tuck everything into pockets. So if you love to organize and put things in their place, this is a perfect volunteer opportunity for you. It's like once every couple of weeks. You could check it every week, but probably every couple of weeks would be plenty. So just let me know or talk to one of the members of the board, and we'll get you set up on a little schedule. What else do we have? Oh, yes. How many of you have been to Village Venture here in Claremont in the past? All right, guess what? You're going again this year. You want to know why? Because we have a table. We have a booth. So we will be out there with all of the merchants and nonprofits from Claremont on the streets of the city. The weekend, the third weekend in October, which means there will be an opportunity if you would like to stand at the booth and hand out little cards and pretty things and tell people about our bookstore and our service. And don't worry, you do not have to answer deep philosophical questions. There will be a practitioner or a minister in the booth with you at all times. But we would love to have your smiling face, just letting people know what a great place we have and the kinds of things we offer, and to be visible in our community, which we all love. So looking forward to that. This is the first time we've been able to do it, and it's going to be a big deal this year because we didn't have it last year. So I think it's going to be a lot of foot traffic, a lot of opportunity for conversation. So that should be fun. So watch for announcements and schedules and places where you can sign up to come hang with us for an hour and answer questions. And then when you're done at our table, you can go see everybody else's table too, okay? And bring back snacks for the people who are at our table. Yeah, that's how that works. What else? Anything else? Am I missing anything? I think we're good. I want to thank you all for your contributions that you continue to give. Those of you online continuing to give, supporting us in the work that we do in the community that we build. I want to remind you that our donation baskets are on the baskets on the stands by the door on your way out. And if you do have a contribution today, or even just an intention in your heart, and you know our affirmation by heart, you may say it with me. The rest of you can just hum along. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now, and we are, thanks to you. So let's do this. Let's stand up, make a circle, keep your masks on, don't hold hands. But I do want to see some dance moves as we take a look at the person next to you with Eddie Watkins.
Take a look at the person next to you and say, God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me.